Whenever I think about Milan, I have always thought about a diva, a classy, respected, aging, I don't know, opera singer who has led a long life and has so many stories to tell. This city is standing at a crossroads, just like every other city in the world in this growing age of urbanism, but here the conversation is amplified. There is a growing hunger for real urban change. I want to find out which path Milan is choosing, how it will future-proof itself using the power of urbanism and community engagement. Milan, show me what you got. Let's be clear, Milan isn't Rome or Venice. There are no gondolas here and no never-ending lines of tourists waiting to visit the Colosseum. But something is happening here. A newly found desire to stand out. A quest for a modern way of developing a city. Once considered the bland financial capital of the country, Milan is now proving its capacity to redefine itself. An industrial past had left almost indelible scars on the urban fabric. But the 2015 World Expo sparked change. Skyscrapers, new public and private initiatives, innumerable urban renewal projects have since popped up on almost every block. Some, of course, are more successful than others. One thing is for sure. Decades of open-mindedness and of open doors to immigration have made Milan the most multicultural hub in all of Italy. And to me, that's a good place to start. Hey,
Ciao.
Giacomo.
Ciao.
Good to see you. Good
Ciao.
to see you. Cool.
Ciao. This is actually the border between Italy as it was and the modernity.
I mean, and you keep pointing like
Exactly.
right here. So
right
this is
here.
future, past, future,
Exactly.
past.
And that's, to me, Milan as it was like 10 years ago. Like from Sicily to Rome to Naples with all our history, our piazza, the city we teach to build all over the world. And this is the modern Milan. So the laboratory of modernity started right here 10 years ago, building a new way of cities.
Giacomo is at the helm of Secolo Urbano, the urban century. Formed by more than 100 city enthusiasts, the group is raising awareness about urban issues on a national level. And this is City Life, a residential and commercial complex in northwestern Milan. More often than not, these places are made by and for the wealthy and have a detrimental effect on the surrounding urban fabric. So, naturally, I regarded the place as the epitome of the fundamental problems behind too many flawed urban developments. But Giacomo sees it differently. In his view, this project represents what Milan is and wants to be, bold and audacious, keen on trying new things, even if the result isn't always perfect.
Now we are leaving the border and we are heading to this street, which to me is very interesting. I think that it's very important to see how Milan was. For example, this street, full of cars. This street with no greenery. This street with some graffiti everywhere. It has a lot of beauty, the mixed use, the openness, and that's the new Milan, this new experiment. You have a gate, you have building with no mixed use, but in exchange you have larger sidewalks, no parking space, because you have a garage and a large park.
We have seen nothing but fences. I can't get into that, what looks like a very nice backyard. It's inaccessible, gated community in a way. We're over here, you know, I can talk to somebody through their window and say, hey, do you have a coffee, you know?
We still have to find a balance between this model with something a bit more open, something bit more mixed. To me, the main point is that Milan, among other Italian cities, we are trying. And that's the surprise, a little hole in the gate, and you have this new perspective. And of course, it's very different from what we had in Milan. Mostly, you don't have a perspective to something desirable. We used to do it centuries ago, when we built monuments, castles, cathedrals, and then we shaped the city so people could see something representative of it. For things to change, you have to prove with this new vision, in my opinion. A lot of districts, after this, they want to have pedestrian promenade.
Right.
They want to have bigger parks. I think that, you know, in a strange way, the effect of this contemporary urbanism is affecting also in exactly your direction the old fabric of the city.
Giacomo and I have clearly connected on the fact that a city has to adapt to its citizens' needs and not the other way around. Like me, he sees the city as a process where individual goals can be transformed into morsels of collective well-being. The old Milan, old European cities, even old American cities, it was more individual. There was, we need a building here, and some guy paid for it and they built a building. Now we are in a different age. The process has changed. Now it is developers with enormous amounts of power and working with Starchitect. Is this a threat to the future development of our cities, that we're leaving it up to very wealthy groups who we cannot really influence the same way as we could influence the organic nature of cities back in the day?
Yes, this could be a real danger, but as far as you combining the old and the new, and as far as you accelerate this process of city creation, you can check and balance better. At the end, you should and you could avoid this loss of control, this loss of vision by real estate owners into mixing up things together. So maybe this city there, the old city, is the only effective watchdog that can prevent new part to be detached from reality, from common goods, from the people.
Pay attention. Everything is old here. Now we are arriving to the first floor. This huge place we call the Galleria.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yes. So from here you can see how close are to the buildings.
Oh, we're in the middle.
This is a good point of view.
Paola Bonara is a very busy woman. She's a doctor, a mother, she sings in a choir, and she's one of the citizens who fought for years to transform Cascina Cuccagna, a 17th century abandoned farmhouse right in downtown Milan, into an open space. The idea was to preserve this heritage building in a way that would turn it into a functional place for locals. All in all, it took Paola and friends more than 15 years to get this show on the road. But the result was a game changer and an inspiration for citizens all over the city. And that's a good thing, because there are 18 other farmhouses in a state of total abandonment, just waiting for similar projects to bring them back to life. This is so many people. This is really alive today, you know?
For us, the most important thing is that this place is open. It's open to everybody. People come here for some cultural project, to go to the movies, to listen a concert, to do book crossing, to discuss about sustainability or about circular economy. That is one of our most important points of our project. This is the grape wine.
Oh.
It's very nice to spend time under the grape wine.
Yeah, yeah. In your mind, is this public space?
In my mind, is my space I give to them. We are the guardian of this place, because if a child come and break a tree, I can tell him, don't do it. But sometimes the parents are strange and they say it's a public place.
Is that not the best success, that people think it's public space?
Yes, it is a good success, this, because we are trying to be invisible. inside. Only they feel that there is something more than this nice place, nice Greece place, because they participate with us. We are doing something for the town, and we should like that other people participate with us to this project and contaminate with this project other projects.
The work of the good people of Cascina Cucagna is not only important for this neighborhood, it's also having a positive impact on the entire city. They had the bright idea of opening the doors of their old farmhouse to refugees, women that had just arrived with their children. They fed them, housed them, provided them with health care. That's what this inclusive project is all about. It's a place for the people, by the people, to be used as the community sees fit.
We try to do all these things with simplicity, but it's difficult to be simple. It's very difficult not to do rules.
Maybe it's hard to make it simple, but if you do that, then
Yes,
there's
the
no
results
limits.
are the best, yes.
Cascina Cucagna is host to many citizen initiatives. One of them is Donatella's Giacimenti Urbani, a kind of urban environmental lab. Today, they're holding a restart party, bringing life back into broken objects. And yeah, I think I'm gonna need Paola's translation skills for this.
Il Restart Party è un mezzo per prolungare la vita degli oggetti e far vedere alle persone che molti apparecchi elettrici ed elettronici che teniamo in casa rotti possono avere una nuova vita e non essere buttati. Giacimenti Urbani si occupa di ridurre gli sprechi e di favorire l'economia circolare. Il Restart Party è uno dei modi.
It's simple. People write their name on this board, along with the object they brought, so that they can keep track of the quantity of potential waste that was avoided. This hand mixer was fixed.
Sì, esatto. Sì, 1 chilo di rifiuti evitato.
Okay, so we saved it. We saved 1 kilogram of waste.
Yes, yes. È il forno a microonde.
Oh, microwave?
Microwave,
Cool.
microwave.
Couldn't save it.
Couldn't
All right.
couldn't be saved.
Is that fixable?
Yes, yes.
So here we're going to have a smiley face.
Sure.
All right. The complex subject of waste in Milan resonates in many different spheres. The city has now implemented a policy aimed at reducing food waste and is at the helm of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact. Basically, an agreement on sustainable urban food systems signed by the mayors of 130 cities around the world. And that's great. But if I've learned one thing, it's that smaller, simpler, citizen-led ideas can often be even more inspiring.
They are packing up,
Yeah.
sales are already closed. Let's see
Okay.
if it's gonna give us something. Avete qualcosa da recuperare qua?
Okay, cool. Grazie mille.
Ciao, grazie.
Grazie.
Grazie a voi.
Rebecca is not a chef. She's not a policymaker. She is, however, a very concerned citizen. Seeing people rummage through trash consisting mostly of perfectly edible food discarded at the end of each day, well, that bugged her. How could so much food go to waste? So she asked the merchants if she could collect their unsold produce and distribute it to the people of the neighborhood. Simple as that. It all began in one small market, and now Recoup, that's the name of the project, has spread to 11 of Milan's numerous markets.
Ciao. Oppa.
This one? See?
Yeah. When we will have a cargo bike, it will be easier.
Do your volunteers have a relationship with all the merchants here? I mean, do they know each other? They say, oh, that's Recoup, they're coming here now.
Yeah, no, they know because at the beginning, when we decide to start recovering the market, we just come and explain to all the merchants the projects.
Yeah.
And if you want, next week we start and we come to you.
The market sellers, they think, I can't sell this.
They can't sell, but it doesn't mean that the food is not edible.
Uh-huh.
As you can see, it's not, maybe here you cut
Yeah.
a bit, but the apple is still good.
Yeah, the cauliflowers look good,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah.
The avocado, maybe you have to eat today and not tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Before, people at the end of the market just went to the rubbish to rummage and take all these things, actually,
Mm-hmm.
all the leftover of the market that merchants throw away.
I mean, look at that. That's an absolutely perfect cucumber right there. To collect data about food waste, Recoup's volunteers weigh the recovered food. Milan is hoping to use this information to better analyze the situation and to find a large-scale solution. We've actually scavenged 161 kilograms of food, just today, in just one market.
Everybody's gonna know how much you weigh.
Cinque.
Cinque.
Cinque. 8. Otto.
Otto.
Do you just weigh the total, or do you weigh how many broccoli, how many, okay.
Depends on the market. Like here, they weigh the total.
Oh, buongiorno, signore. What do you have today? We got some lettuce, some oranges, apples, avocado. How long have you been coming to Recoup here?
Quanto tempo è che vieni a Recoup?
Comunque quasi un anno e mezzo io sto venendo qua quasi, vengo qua ogni sabato, allora lo trovo bene, trovo anche organizzato, sistemato tutta la roba bene. L'ho preso sempre la roba e la porto a casa.
Ma aiuti anche, aiuti anche un po' a smittare.
Sì, vado io a aiutare un po', sì, però...
Ti diamo la maglietta?
Hey, grazie mille, signore.
Grazie.
What do you think about the project, the whole Recoup project? Huh?
Very, very good. Good vegetables with recycling and respect the environment. Sometimes you meet in this way new person and you know that the neighbors.
You meet new people also.
New people, yeah, and you help the city.
You meet new people.
Awesome, man. I've seen projects hoping to solve the food waste issue all over the world. But this one is a bit different. And Rebecca insists, this is not charity. It's not the rich giving to the poor. It's simply everyone working together. Those coming to take food also help collect it, sort it, and distribute it. And the volunteers, they take home food too.
Sometimes when there are people not respectful with the others, they are used, for example, to rummage in the rubbish and whatever, I just stop them and ask, okay, now I give you this box and you give to the others. And this way people, little by little, coming here, they start, first of all, to speak one with the other.
So from being, in a way, anonymous and just, oh, those are those people digging in the garbage, when you stop and talk to them, you give them dignity.
Exactly.
And then you include them in a circle of many different types of people. I mean,
and they feel part of a project. And that's the last link of the chain. But in the future, we have a lot of dreams and ideas to also give job to people. We'd like to create a social enterprise and transform also the food. We already do marmalade. We do for some small event, we do for ourselves. But we'd like to really sell the marmalade, for example, and who cooks the marmalade? We can call all the old lady, all the people, and pay them.
of all the social movements that I've witnessed in cities around the world, it's as though the ones that tackle food waste are rocking it more than anything else. It's simple. It's intuitive. You get it when you see the kind of food that is being thrown out. You understand that we have to do something to reverse that. But it's projects like Recoup that mix food waste with social inclusion, with strengthening the urban fabric that I love the most. I was here a bit earlier and there wasn't so many people. Now people are finished work and they're coming down to the canal.
Yes, this is the one place, especially during the evening for the nightlife. It's probably one of the most favorite places for young people. Milan is a city of big opportunities, and we want to add to the fact that it's a city of job, that is a city of quality of life.
The concentric layout of the city center reflects the Navigli, the system of interconnected urban canals that was created between the Roman era and the early 19th century. I meet Pier Francesco Moran, Deputy Mayor for Urban Planning and Green Areas at the Naviglio Grande, one of only 3 canals still open. All the others, some of which were designed by a certain Leonardo da Vinci, you might have heard of him, have been covered up and transformed into, you guessed it, roads. But hey, the good news, the city plans to reopen 8 kilometers of these forgotten treasures. Tell me about the actual process. It seems like an enormous project to uncover all of these canals?
It's not a normal project, it's one of the hardest projects, I mean. And now we are moving from the idea to the realization. Our idea is to recreate the channel downstairs and to reopen it on 5 specific points that are easier to reopen at the beginning. And so we will talk about the citizens on this specific project.
Okay.
That is, we think, much interesting than just saying, let's reopen it without explaining.
Right. I mean, I guess the citizens also deserve that you explain the consequences, right?
Yeah, it's a part of the public debate of the city.
So do you find that a lot of Milanese are surprised to learn that there are canals under some of the roads? Have the younger generation, they maybe don't even know about this?
No, they know.
They know.
People know the story of Navigli in Milan. We also had a referendum. People said we want to reopen it. Of course, it's also a dream, I would say. To reopen totally Navigli, it's complicated. You have to manage the fact that it's very expensive and can also create some problems. But our idea is to start this dream and to reopen part of them.
He's just riding his bike and coaching the rowers. It's awesome, man. That's so cool. The idea, of course, is to recreate places as vibrant as the Naviglio Grande all around the city, and even in the periphery. But the project also serves environmental and sustainable purposes.
The problem to move water from the north of the city to the south of the city, because on the north we have a problem of too much water. There were also rivers that floods often. On the south we don't have enough water for agriculture, so a channel is useful for that.
Historically, did you have the same problem, flooding in the north and agriculture in the south without much water? Maybe were the canals?
No, we start to have the problem when we cover the river.
Okay, yes, but that's the point.
We created, to solve some problem of traffic, etc., and smells, we created a new problem of flooding.
Okay.
And now we are trying to rethink the city in a much environmental way. A channel is not just something on the aesthetic of the city or for tourism, but it can also implement our environmental strategy.
Could this be a new identity for the city, bringing back the canals?
Yeah, we're not Amsterdam. But this is part of the identity of the old Milan.
You have already tested it in a way. What was the Darsena like before you redesigned it?
Darsena was the ancient port of Milan. Then during the 90s, it was all quite abandoned, especially because the former mayor fought to create there parking places. And this didn't happen because citizens protested, etc., but it was an abandoned place. We refurbished the place, and now it's the place where citizens go when, for example, if somebody came to visit Milan, you will take them to see the Darsena because it's the new place. And it was important because it was the first time that the citizens of Milan understood why it was important to recreate new water places in Milan. The future of Milan, there is the fact that we have a much pedestrian city, less polluted, and even the water can help on the side. Blue and green can be some element that can be on the future of the city.
This area, it's already how it could be look in the near future. It's already green.
Sure.
We should clean up a bit, but it's still.
This is Porto Romana. It's basically 200,000 square meters of nearly abandoned rail yard. From the look of it, you might think I'm lost in some dodgy suburb, far from the city center. But nope, not at all. The second largest of Milan's 7 abandoned rail yards, it now sits between 2 bustling neighborhoods. These rail yards once separated the city from its industrial zone. But over the past decades, Milan has sprawled so drastically that it has grown far beyond this former frontier. Piero is the city's chief resilience officer, and he sees these derelict places as blank slates, as unique opportunities to create something new and better.
We have 30,000 people coming to the city every year. The problem is especially the rent is so high. So we are now pushing to have more social housing with more affordable renting. And these 7 areas could make a significant change in balancing the cost of the rent in the long-term perspective.
Then you have the Prada Foundation with their big fancy building there. It feels like I see something like that and I think, oh, you know, are they coming? Is this going to be fancy developments and huge companies moving in?
I mean, this is help to make the area attractive.
Okay.
Honestly, if you want to lead as a cities, you also have to develop something that is maybe not for you, but for the entire world. So even someone is say, oh, they're good speculation, they say, no, they will not, because it's already defined. Do you want to take part in this process? This is the rules. And this rules is set by the city together with the community, together with the National Railway.
The city has convinced the National Railway Company to put this land to better use, to give it a new lease on life. So they've established a master plan. A third of the land will be devoted to housing, including social housing, and 65% will be transformed into green space. Public space and institutions will occupy what's left. And it all begins very soon. Community engagement, public participation, is there a tradition for that here in Milan, or is this a new thing in this age where you're trying to figure out where to go and what to do?
There is an ancient tradition. Then we got lost to become more individuals in the 80s and the 90s. And then 10 years ago, I was back on this new way of participation. Every kind of new development, it's not required, but we go for public engagement and for the community stakeholder. We had like a participatory process last year to identify the priority and the objective of the future plan of this area. And at every meeting, there was more than 1,000 people coming and joining this discussion. The people, they need to be part of big changes. I think that is one of the key elements of the city of Milan during the last 15 years. It's not a matter of the city council, it's not a matter of the private sector, it's not a matter of the single citizen, it's a matter of community. They want to rethink themselves and to bring back Milan on its own place as one of the leading cities globally.
Are you optimistic about all of these different things that are happening in Milan, that it will lead to some kind of cohesive plan for the future?
I'm optimistic. But we don't have to sit on a comfortable chair. We need always to have some doubts about what we are doing, and we need to take care of also of that there is some issue. I mean, we have new citizens coming to the city, and there is different culture, and there is different religion, and there is different approach to life, and we need to be sure that all of them they have the same opportunity as the Italian has it. So, and this is, I think, is an essential element to have a cohesive and inclusive development on this. So respect everybody, every culture, and we can make the difference in the city.
Milan has a reputation for being one of the most welcoming cities in Europe for refugees. They talk about the Milan model, but now the tendency is waning because of politics and many other aspects that we're seeing, not only in Milan, but cities around the world. I'm going to meet some people here in Zone 8 who are trying their best to reverse that tendency and insist on making refugees feel welcome.
The exchange between people is a richness, you know, and we are trying to making bridge and to escape or to avoid the fear in between people.
There are 3 large-scale refugee camps in this neighborhood alone, and they're home to almost 500 people. For Alessandro and his friends, that's how it all started. They just wanted to get to know their new neighbors and to make them feel welcome. What better way than sharing a meal? So they organized a dinner, and then another one, and another one, inviting refugees and people who had been living in Zone 8 their entire lives.
We have 3 kind of African food tonight. So, from Somalia, from Sierra Leone, and from Gambia.
Are you from Somalia? Yeah, from Somalia. And when did you come to Italy?
Gorma Italy.
أنا صار بالشغل تاعي.
She live in almost 1 year.
1 year, right. And you?
1 year. Me 1 year.
1 year as well. Boom. Like that, huh? Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Michael.
Is that good?
Yeah,
Go. Next. Next. Okay, there you go.
We're going to put different sauce.
All right.
The Gambia on one side, the Sierra Leone on one side.
And then does everybody vote on which one is the best, or what? You're hoping for Sierra Leone? Yeah, all right.
For Gambia.
Gambia. My kitchen is so boring compared to this one, believe me. No, this is Sierra Leone, huh?
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, sì.
Qua.
E Gambia. Prego.
Per tre.
Appetito. After the food is served, I chat with Alessandro and his friends. Salam, co-founder of Zona 8 Solidali, Kamara and Rahim from Sierra Leone, and Mohammed from Gambia. That was intense. That was wild. That was just the kitchen and everybody, all these volunteers. I mean, who are a lot of the Italian volunteers?
Mostly it's people from Zona 8, which are organizing and working on the dinner.
Kamara, how long have you been in Europe?
It's been 1 year, 2 months. We came at the same time.
You came at the same time. Did you come together or just at the same time?
We come together.
All right.
I've been here for 2 years, 4 months now.
Are you all staying in the camp near here? Yeah. We talk about how Milan has really done maybe more than other cities. Do you think that's true?
The city is more reactive, maybe because it's a city of migration. My parents are coming from other countries. People that are coming to school with me, like nobody really comes from Milano.
Milan is better than the rest of Italy because the rest of Italy is awful. There is a little bit more open-minded, but it's definitely not enough.
People is afraid because in a small town, they open maybe big center, or outside small centers, they open big centers that are really like abandoned. Nobody knows about anything about those people. Like in a city, you can have 300 people staying in a camp, not maybe far away from the city. It's difficult then to know each other.
For Alessandro, Salam, and everyone at Zona 8 Solidali, the solution to the migrant crisis is not to close the borders or to build large-scale camps to house refugees and asylum seekers. Cities need to find a way to integrate newcomers into existing communities, into the social fabric, not apart from it. Is this neighborhood, Zona 8, is it better now with the way that the community has welcomed the immigrants?
I would say that people is now less stressed. Welcoming refugees was actually depicted as a very terrifying thing. And actually what we can show is that it's not. We think that welcome is something that it cannot be said by a place, by a building, by an institution, only by a community.
Yeah.
So the welcome that we gave was the welcome of a community. Then started to work together. And now we work together.
What is your situation?
At the moment, I have a paper.
Okay, can you work?
Yeah, this paper, I can work with this paper. I remember my first time in Italy. Before meeting these people, it was crazy for me. But fortunately, rather, I meet Alessandro. I call him a brother. I meet with so many Italian people, and they respect me, and we respect them too.
Yeah.
They are the people who took me to school. We have a running team called No One Is Illegal running team.
Yeah.
It's created by Alessandro, and then we do this every Sunday. And then now I'm really enjoying Italy, and I want to stay here.
Speaking for myself, I'm more rich now. I have some Gambian or Sierra Leone or a lot of country friends which I wouldn't even know where to show on the map where these countries are. And now I know their culture, their food, and I have so many friends to share interest. Listen to Mohammed is very touchful for me. So I guess we did something good.
I am the proud son of immigrants. Good people looking for a better life. Immigrants who had an easier journey than the brave souls I've met here. I grew up in a city, and throughout my childhood, my family home was filled with wave after wave of refugee families. My parents insisted on being the first point of contact for new people coming to the country, Czechoslovakians, Ugandans, Vietnamese. That was my childhood, meeting an entire community, doing what I was taught was right, is inspiring on so many levels. Building strong communities seems to be of vital importance for citizens all over this city. I meet Daniele in his neighborhood of Nolo, short for north of Loreto. When he moved here 3 years ago, he didn't know a soul. And, well, he just wanted to make new friends. So he launched a Facebook page called Noo Social District, simply hoping to bring people together in his new neighborhood.
The very first time we were something like 4, and then the voice started spreading, and the name Nolo became a bit famous. Right. And now we are something like 5,600.
5,000?
Yeah, of people who lives and works here.
The Noo Social District is inspired by the social street concept, developed in Bologna in 2013. The idea is simple: inspiring neighbors to meet, to chat, help each other out at no cost. There are now more than 450 social streets all over the world, from Italy to Canada, from Norway to New Zealand.
Every Saturday morning with the neighbors, we organize a breakfast on the streets or on a square. So
public space.
Yeah, public space that we use the public space because it's I know that something...
Because it's public.
Because it's public.
For you, it's super important that you're out on the street with these people, meeting them face to face?
Yeah, because a social street is not only a Facebook group. Use Facebook as a media, as a tool in order to meet people in flesh and blood. So the aim is to go offline, not to remain online. I think that it's something simple but important. There is people who are maybe baking a cake for their neighbors and they share their food and they share their tradition, their culture. A very important word. You can share with people.
Co-creation,
in
a way, right? Co-creation of a social street. Before we get to the neighborhood breakfast, we stop at Sarah's, co-founder of the Noo Social District, to pick up a table. And this is where it gets a bit awkward. I didn't bake a cake, so we needed to pick up some pastries. So you created the framework, you gave the people something that they obviously wanted and were waiting for. How is it expanded?
There are a lot of projects. There is, for example, a knitting group, there are people running, and there are English conversation group, French conversation group, and then there is a community radio. It's a local radio made by the neighbors. That became friends thanks to the social street. It's Giornolo Radio. It's only about the district, so they are like doing interviews and cut and paste and something like that.
Like portraits of the people here, but also maybe information about events and other
events, what happens. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Vabbè, la sentiamo noi e balliamo.
Musica in cuffia e ce la balliamo.
Queste stesse anche per le
Ciao.
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 Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao.
Nice to meet you. Hey. Yeah, cool. All right.
Great. As you can see, it's something really simple, but it's something that we are not allowed to do because we are breaking a law in a certain way, because you have to announce to the city that you are doing this and you have to pay because you use public space.
These are, in a way, just breakfast activists.
Yeah.
Breaktivists.
Breaktivists.
Did I just make that up? I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, I never use this, but I like it.
Yeah.
Sarah?
How has it changed your perception of your own neighborhood where you live?
Completely, I would say. When I started this, it's because I was new in Milan, new in the district, and I didn't know anyone. And basically what I did is I need a way to meet my neighbors and making new friends. And since then I know so many people and I really love staying in this street that I don't want to move out anymore. It's home, finally.
Finally home.
Finally home.
Where does it end? What's the goal for social streets in Nolo?
I don't know, maybe the goal is that we don't need a social street anymore. Maybe when the social street do perfectly its job, we don't need a Facebook group in order to do all this kind of project and stuff. It's like a paradox.
Yeah.
It's the best case scenario is that we don't need it.
the subject of transportation, I really get the feeling that Milan is trying. For many years, the jewel in the crown was their congestion charge from 2012. If you want to drive your car into the city center, Area C, which starts behind me, you have to pay a fee. There have been amazing results, a reduction in pollution in the city center between 6 and 18%. This is also one of the few large cities in Europe that never got rid of their tram system. You see an eclectic mix of vintage trams and newer models doing the hard work on the rails at street level. The next step is expanding the metro. Let's throw into the mix a successful bike share system, car share programs, even an electric scooter share system. It's as though Milan is throwing everything they have at the issue. I really get the feeling that this is one of the world's great transportation laboratories. But even if Milan is throwing all types of transportation alternatives into the mix, the city has to address its car situation. It is, after all, Italy's second most congested city, after Rome. There are lots of cars here. And, of course, that means lots of parking. On the streets, obviously, but also everywhere else. Motorists here park wherever they can, and clearly wherever they want, including squares and other public spaces. In fact, many of these piazzas, once at the center of Milanese social life, are now nothing more than parking lots.
For the wicked, okay.
Thank you.
Well, yes.
All right.
So we are trying to recreate a public space alternative to just a car parking space.
Michele, Davide, and Carlotta call their very cool project 12 square meters. It's all in the name. 12 square meters is the exact amount of space occupied by a parked car. Today, we're transforming this parking lot into something much more useful, at least temporarily. We're showing the citizens that this space, and many others like it, were once used differently and could be again.
If you consider a car, it's parked on average like 90% of its entire life. It's a lot of space taken off by car just parked. A few years ago, a sharing system started here in Milan, and car moving take off like less space compared to a car parked. So something is changing in this direction. But we still have a lot of parking spots in the city center. And sometimes you don't even have sidewalks.
That's a very small sidewalk, huh?
Yeah, exactly. It's like nothing.
How do you design this space? I mean, you have all of these different things. You have the barriers, yes, like we get the barriers.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a bike station for bike repairs, cool. But how do you actually make the list and say, what do we want on this space?
Well, we try to integrate some different realities, both from the neighborhoods and from former installation. We would like to create a space where it's possible to cooperate together, like people from the neighborhood, but also from the city, not just the small neighborhood, and to do things together and to see how the people react to this and if they're willing to change.
It's not just putting plants up, it's actually a discussion about, wait, we need rosemary there, but it's really kind of cool. There's a system to this, and it's aesthetic. All right.
And because they prefer the aromatic plants in the lower part, so when you sit down, you can smell it.
Ah, so there's a system.
And the flowers are up.
Just for the visual, huh? Just up here?
Yeah. Put it here, for example.
Bene.
And then we can put...
Yeah.
It's very good.
It looks like the city just might be listening. It's sponsored today's activity, and it's now considering the implementation of similar pop-up installations elsewhere as a pilot project.
This is like a performance to try to make people understand that there's a different opportunity. Going against cars doesn't really have the right effect to people, but I think that what really makes a modern city modern, contemporary, it's the possibility to have a choice, to let people choose the modes of transport that they want to use.
How would transforming this space affect the neighborhood, do you think?
The first thing is we tried really not to do something that could feel against them. This morning we were here and we met the residents and they were so, okay, but this could be cool. I should find a different place to put my car, but at least this is becoming a sort of square. We said, yes, it could be something like this.
Tactical urbanism can be subtle, but it can also be bold. It shows the residents of a neighborhood anywhere in the world what is possible. But it also peels back the facade to reveal what every city was for thousands of years, a life-size space for people.
This is the meeting point. That's where we wait for kids and parents. And at 8 o'clock we leave.
And I understand that we have to get there on time because the
We
school
have
is strict
to.
about kids
We
arriving
have
on time.
to, yes.
Right, okay.
Teachers don't want them to be late, of course, so
Yeah.
we have to leave at 8 o'clock.
Massa marmocchi. Let's translate that to a whole bunch of kids on bikes. Started when a mother made a simple request on Facebook. She wanted to bike to school with her 8-year-old. But with Milan's very intense traffic, it's no surprise that she simply didn't dare. So, Mara and a few friends, members of the critical mass movement, answered the call enthusiastically. They rallied other parents, and they all biked to school together, creating a movement in its own right. Massa Marmocchi now operates in 25 schools throughout Milan, underlining that there is safety in numbers.
The goal, first of all, is to educate kids to use bikes, not only to go to the parks, but to use it as a transport. We would like them to grow up with this consciousness that they have the right to share the road and they have the right to use the bike every day to go to school and to do whatever they wish to do with the bike.
What has the response been like when we're in the traffic?
People who drive the cars can be very mad at us. They get very nervous because they want to go to work and they don't want to wait. And it's weird because when they are in the traffic, behind the cars, they wait for 30 minutes, also, for example. But while for us, with kids, they should be more patient. It's something nice, you know?
Mara and her Massa Marmocchi friends insist on the right to use the streets. They're also fighting for better cycling infrastructure. Efforts have in fact been made by the city in the past few years, but many of the bike lanes have yet to be connected in a cohesive, coherent network.
A change should be made in the minds of people, in the way they want the cities to be. We want the cities to be more livable. So if you want this, you have to make a change. You have to have less cars. You have to give place to pedestrians and to bikes. That's a fact, you know, we need it. Allora, bambini, non si fanno gare oggi, si va tutti piano, sì.
Are we ready to go?
Yes, we are ready to go.
The kids are ready to go.
Bambini, qua come al solito, ci fermiamo.
Right, or stop?
Yes, we stop because it's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
When we are safe, we go.
We're actually respecting the traffic laws at certain intersections and gathering all the kids, and then we continue on. So it's in your face, but there's also certain structure to it.
Ciao! Ok, bambini, andiamo!
Is this normal? Like, this how many kids is normal on a Friday at this
maybe
school?
today there are a little bit more kids, but anyway, we are a very nice group when there is a nice weather.
Yeah, cool, yeah. And lots of parents are with their kids are coming from the sides.
Yeah, because there is a sort of bike bus.
Yeah.
So some kids wait for us. Piano, piano, bambini! Wow. No, okay, now it's crazy.
Now it's chaos.
Because we are close to the school.
That's fine, that's fine.
We are almost there.
Go in the
So we made it?
We made it.
On time,
On
3
time.
minutes early?
Actually, yes.
That's not very Italian
late.
to be
No,
early,
no,
is
no,
it?
no.
They're happy. The
Yes,
kids are
they
happy.
are,
They were happy when they arrived at the plaza, and they're happy on the ride, and they're happy now. I
Yes,
mean,
they are.
It's not a bad start
That's
to their
why
day.
we do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we know that there's a lot of science from Denmark that shows that kids who ride a bike to school, even just 2 kilometers, they are going to be better students. They are going to be awake, alert, and they're going to actually learn more just because they did a simple bike ride. So it's not just taking back the streets, it's also improving their quality of life.
I'm sure it is. You definitely feel better. You see kids smiling, you see kids happy, you bike together, and it's a very nice way to start the day, so yes.
How can you not have a good start today with looking at all those kids having the time of their lives?
Yeah, definitely.
The whole crew, every time we looked at each other, we're just smiling the entire time. It's just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Milan is at a crossroads. But you know what? It has always been a crossroads. This is the gateway to everywhere, possibly Europe's greatest intersection. Milan has never been a pompous capital with the burden of history on its shoulders. This city is completely free to shrug. Where do you want to go? I don't know, but let's figure out how to get there. Do you know what Milan is? It is one of the world's greatest urban startups. 2,400 years young and ready to go. And there is no shortage of investors in the form of citizens eager at the opportunity, ready to invest their ideas, passion, and the most valuable asset of all, civic pride. But Milan is in that sweet spot. They can be bold, disruptive, free to experiment in this fantastic urban laboratory. Will it work? I hope so, but I have no idea. In a world of hesitant municipal development where baby steps are the status quo, Milan is freestyling. And that is exactly the kind of inspiration and leadership citizens here and in cities around the world need and deserve.